I'm thrilled to be with you today, sharing ideas and dreaming of possibilities about the future of education. I'd like to share with you the story of the Global Education Conference, a free online event that I co-chaired during November's International Education Week. For me, the power of technology lies in that it can connect students, teachers, and organizations around the world. This is more exciting to me than all the current EdTech trends combined. First and foremost, technology allows us to connect and virtually travel to places some of us only get to imagine. Knowledge and awareness of the world is fundamental to solving the problems our planet is facing. David Potter, Chief Development Officer for iEarn USA, wrote this about our conference. I love how he has come to understand our event. Our conference is very unique in that we want to empower presenters and participants to engage in our event. There are low barriers to participation. Anyone who submits a proposal that's related to our mission is usually accepted. Presenters are empowered to manage all aspects of their sessions, from self-set scheduling to learning our webinar platform to promoting their session over social media to creating engaging online presentations. We want to make everyone confident and successful. Participants are empowered as well and are encouraged to seek out sessions at their convenience via conference calendar in their own time zone. We also encourage participants to ask questions and offer their own ideas in chat rooms that accompany each conference session. Our intent is to make this experience as accessible to as many people as possible. Last week I was in New York City to work with a school, and as I was stuck in a Manhattan traffic jam late Tuesday afternoon, ironically caused by this very same gentleman, I came across his quote from the Clinton Global Initiative that had just taken place. I wholeheartedly agree and believe in this concept that we must work together across borders in order to tackle the pressing problems of today. Everyone involved in the Global Education Conference has been working to foster the relationships necessary for collaborating across borders for the last 4 years. I'm very proud of our community. Our mission seeks to connect students, educators, and organizations. This is not a general education conference, nor a technology conference, although many of these presentations do touch upon these topics. The Global Education Conference is more about creating connections more than anything. Let me share a bit with you about the origins of this conference starting in 2005. As a teacher at the University of Chicago Laboratory Schools, I was awarded the distinction of Apple Distinguished Educator, an accolade given to innovative educators. Belonging to this community has changed my professional life. I'm continually inspired by my colleagues in this program and strive to further my work. Every teacher should have the opportunity to belong to such a professional learning community, in my opinion, but that's another talk for another day. The following year, two things happened. In 2006, I had an encounter with a colleague who had no interest or intention in sharing how she was working with students on a groundbreaking project. I was shocked by her inclination not to help her curious admirers and vowed that I would move in the opposite direction, to practice professional generosity as much as I could. So what is it exactly? Here is how I've defined it. I'm not the first to use this term, by the way. Because of connective technologies, I know that my professional life has been greatly enriched. I know that because I put my work out there, I gain so much from others who do the same in return. And I've found that if you share widely, opportunities that you never expected may happen because people become aware of your work and your interests. The days of educators working in silos are over. The second thing that happened in 2006 was a trip to Europe, influenced by the writings of people like Thomas Friedman and Dan Pink, describing a changing world and economy. Apple announced that our annual Apple Distinguished Educator Summer Institute would take place in Europe. We traveled to Berlin and Prague, creating a global awareness curriculum and developing multimedia. It was an amazing, immersive opportunity to travel and learn with educators from all over the United States and various countries. We visited historic sites, met with local experts, and contemplated other cultures. As someone who had not traveled abroad extensively at this time, I soaked it all in. I was surprised by the difficulty to get online in some places, but it occurred to me that there were opportunities to be had for connecting classrooms. To me, one of the most basic and obvious affordances of technology is to connect with one another, and I started to wonder why more schools were not leveraging technology in this way. 2007 brought a new way for educators to connect, and that was Ning. In 2007, Steve Hargadon launched a Ning community for educators interested in exploring new and emerging technologies. Ning was revolutionary because now educators could create their own social networks. I was astounded by the number of people who initially joined Classroom 2.0. I recall 13,000 members joining the first month. There are now more than 80,000 people participating in this online community of practice. Inspired by Steve, I also started a Ning network focused on global project-based learning. It was originally called the Global Education Collaborative. The intent of this space was to serve as an umbrella for people and organizations interested in connecting and sharing. So fast forward a couple years to 2010, and Steve approached me about leveraging our mutual networks as well as the Blackboard Collaborate platform, a webinar tool that he was promoting as a consultant at the time. Steve asked me in all seriousness to think about what we could do to impact education in a significant way. While I was doubtful of this potential, I suggested that we do an online conference similar to the K-12 online conference which preceded us. And so it began. So where are we now? Let me bring you up to speed. Here is the state of our community. All of this content is in addition to at least 1,200 conference presentations in our archives. This is a treasure trove of information that is used in all sorts of ways on an ongoing basis. These sessions are licensed under a Creative Commons license and are used regularly for PD sessions, for in-service teachers, and for undergraduate and graduate student classes as well. We are also starting to hold face-to-face meetups in various locations around the country, and it has added a very exciting element to our work. Our community lives on throughout the year, but here are the basic details about the conference itself. The live conference is a great opportunity to meet potential collaborators from all over the world. This is what it looks like for presenters. The call for proposals opens in June. Presenters submit proposals and most are approved. Presenters self-schedule their presentations and then they prepare their talks by attending training sessions, working on their slides, and promoting their sessions over social media. Participants join our community. They browse our discussion forum to look at proposals. They access our schedule in their own time zone using Google Calendars, and we use a tool called You Can Book Me so that they can see things in their own time zone. A direct link is also provided in the Google Calendar schedule to the Blackboard Collaborate V Room where they can view a presentation. Volunteers are a really, really important part of our conference, and this is what it looks like from their perspective. We see a lot of professional generosity magic happen with our volunteers. Some people intend to moderate a session or two and end up staying for hours. Some people relieve Steve and myself for long stretches so that we can sleep. Others tirelessly work with presenters who are new to all of this and need a bit of extra help. We could not hold this event without the efforts of many, many people. And again, this is an especially great way to get to know other folks involved with the conference if you serve as a volunteer. This is a screenshot of my co-chair, Steve Hargadon, explaining our scheduling process during one of our conferences. To get an idea of the scheduling involved, take a look at this Google Calendar from our 2011 conference. The green indicates super moderator volunteers who are overseeing the volunteers at the time. Yellow indicates the volunteers who are serving as moderators. Orange indicates the general sessions, and purple indicates keynote sessions. We use a tool called You Can Book Me that allows presenters to book their own sessions, and they appear on this calendar as a result. This is what a resulting booking looks like, and it gives you all the basic information about a presenter and a presentation, including the session link to the room where that session will take place. Note that the Blackboard Collaborate interface here, this is Jennifer Klein presenting on fostering global citizenship in our schoolhouse. She presents multiple sessions every year in Spanish and in English. This year she'll be serving as a keynote speaker. You'll see generally an area where the audio and the video come from in the left-hand corner. You can see buttons where people can activate those windows. You'll see an area for participants where you can contact people directly, or there's a chat area. You'll also see in the middle here a whiteboard area where you can upload slides. Every session starts out with a map provided by Steve Hargadon. He does this with every webinar I think he's ever held, and it's a great way for people to kind of see where people are connecting from around the world. We give them whiteboard tool access, and then they indicate where they are at the beginning of every session. Sometimes presenters use the webcam that's part of this interface. It's not required, however. This is Pam Allen of Lit World, who had just returned from visiting her Lit clubs in Rwanda. Many presenters show videos during their presentations. Others elicit audience participation and take advantage of features in Blackboard Collaborate, such as the whiteboard tool and polling tool. Here, participants had access to the whiteboard and added their own project suggestions after the presenter had opened up this and solicited their suggestions. In this example, teachers planned how they'll start global projects. Here's another example of a previous presentation. This is from Polar Bears International. They used their webcam to present from their tundra buggy in Churchill, Manitoba, and then turned the webcam on the polar bears outside their buggy so we could see what was going on live. Julian Reed followed up on this presentation from 2010 as one of our keynote speakers last year. Last fall, she was part of a team that brought Google's Street View group to film up in the tundra. In this example, Brandon Wiley, formerly of the Asia Society, gave a great keynote on how to foster global competency at the school level. We offer more than 20 keynote presentations each year delivered by high-level thought leaders. Previous keynoters have included AFT President Randy Weingarten, Harvard researcher Tony Wagner, musician Dan Zanes, and children's author Seymour Simon. One year, we even had Andrew Gardner interview his famous father, Howard Gardner. Rana Dajani is a very accomplished scientist who is promoting literacy in Jordan. Her organization, We Love Reading, just won the WISE Award, and she'll be keynoting this year at our conference as well. We also feature a Spanish strand of the conference in a series of keynote presentations delivered in Spanish. We would like to grow and support more multilingual presentations. Another keynote speaker has been Mary Clisby, an American principal working with a school in post-Hurricane Haiti. Our friends at iEarn alerted us to her work and also mentioned that the Francis Parker School has been involved in collaborating with this school. Anna is an Australian educator who lives in a remote part of the country. She lives on a sheep farm. She connects with educators through Hello Little World Skypers community and does an outstanding job of supporting newbies with projects. I also remember her performing acts of professional generosity at our conference multiple times as a moderator. One year we had a gentleman from Oman who was having trouble connecting and he missed his time slot and all sorts of things, and I was probably losing my patience with him directly, but Anne took him aside, got him up and running. He just did the presentation for her, but at least he had the recording afterwards. And Anne guided him through the whole thing and took a great deal of pleasure in seeing this gentleman become successful. Anne is amazing. This is a presentation given by Kim Kofino, an international school teacher in Japan. She told her story of teaching abroad, and it was fascinating. It made me want to go abroad. Another presentation from last year involved Vicki Davis's class and grad students at the University of Michigan, in which they told about their project, the Arab-Israeli conflict simulation. And here are Vicki's students presenting on this very topic. We are trying to involve more students. We'd love to see more students get involved with our conference. These educators are from Florida, Australia, and Spain, and they discussed accessibility features in iPads. The title of their presentation was Building a Global Culture Around Accessibility. Many nonprofits organizations showcase their work during our conference week. Primary Source is a Boston-based group that provides great global curriculum resources and holds educator book discussions online. So what's it like to participate in these sessions? As Anne Ahern-Daly recently shared with us, every single moment for her has been magical. And what I thought was very interesting about her comments is that she noted that the personal global interaction and connections are really, really fundamental to this experience. What you'll see in our conference are everyday acts of professional generosity, of people sharing their work, of people helping each other through this process of presenting and participating in our conference. And the bottom line is our conference is just made up of people who believe in this. This gives me great hope for our world. Donna Roman is one of those people. She is a Chicago-based educator who's been involved with iEarn and the Global Education Conference for a number of years. In her blog post from a couple years ago, she pondered the possibilities of professional generosity and calls for more intention in this area. Perhaps it's time to get more radical with our generosity. Our friends at the Global Oneness Project recently posted an essay by filmmaker and Principia College professor Paul Van Slambrook, in which he relates stories of people performing professional generosity. Van Slambrook says, "What animates a person can sustain them. In fact, it's the only thing that will. What makes someone come alive is a gift that they do not possess. This gift should be shared with as few constraints as possible. And when it is, the means to continue that sharing naturally follows." That is a rough approximation of what I think of as the working fundamentals of the gift economy. With that said, what is your role in this gift economy? I challenge you to go out in the world and perform acts of radical professional generosity. I also invite you to join us in November as a presenter or a participant at the Global Education Conference. I promise you that you will find it an amazing and uplifting experience. Many thanks to our friends at iEarn USA, at the Global Campaign for Education US chapter, to the leadership team for the Global Education Conference, and to the countless volunteers, and including moderators and presenters who give of their time during the International Education Week. For more information, please visit our website at globaleducationconference.com. Follow us on Twitter at GlobalEdCon, and access these slides at www.lucygray.org. Thanks again for your time, and I look forward to seeing you online in November.